Did you know that Akaza had a fiancé? Or that Kokushibo was Yoriichi's twin brother? Well, let's go over every terrifying Upper Moon's backstory in Demon Slayer. And we of course gotta start with the former Upper Moon 6, the siblings Daki and Gyutaro. Now, Gyutaro's life started off rough. He was born into poverty in the lowest part of the entertainment district, and his mom literally tried to kill him before he was even born because she couldn't afford another mouth to feed. The abuse then continued after he was born, and he wasn't even given a name, so he named himself Gyutaro after working as a Gyu. Throughout his childhood, people mocked him for being ugly, dirty, poor, and he literally had nothing. Like he only survived by eating bugs and mice, which he killed with a rusty sickle, the only toy he ever had. The only light in his life came when his sister, Ume, was born. She was everything he wasn't, beautiful, admired, and full of potential. And he swore to protect her, even against their abusive mom, who literally tried to kill her because of her hair and eye color. And not long after, their mom died of illness, leaving him fully responsible for his sister. So he took it upon himself to make sure she could live a better life. But Ume, she was so beautiful that Gyutaro hoped her beauty would get them both out of poverty, and eventually, it did. Yeah, as a teenager, she became a high-class oiran known as Shira Ume, while Gyutaro acted as her collector, handling debts and protecting her. However, everything fell apart when she stabbed a samurai in the eye after he insulted her brother. In revenge, she was tied up, burned, and tossed in a ditch. When Gyutaro found her charred body, he literally broke. Yeah, he started panicking and was desperate to save her, but then the samurai came back and slashed him across the back. And that's when Gyutaro snapped and brutally killed the guy as he finally realized just how cruel the world was. Despite being injured and with Ume in his arms, he ran through the district looking for help. But nobody cared. People ignored them like trash. And just when it seemed like the end for both of them, the upper rank 6 demon, Doma, appeared. And instead of killing them, he offered them his blood, turning them into demons. From then on, Gyutaro and Ume, now Daki, became the terror of the entertainment district, and eventually they were acknowledged by Muzan and given the rank of upper rank 6. However, Muzan recognized that Gyutaro was the more powerful of the siblings, and acknowledged only him as the true holder. But these siblings were the former Upper Moon 6, so let's move on to the current one, Kaigaku. Kaigaku was an orphan, stealing scraps just to survive, until he got picked up by Gyomei and taken to his temple with the other kids. And it seemed like he finally had a place where he belonged. However, when Kaigaku got caught stealing temple money, the other kids kicked him out, and that's when he ran into a demon. Instead of fighting or trying to run, Kaigaku sold everyone out by putting out the wisteria incense that kept them safe, all to save himself. After that, he was taken in by Iguro, the former Thunder Hashira, alongside Zenitsu, who didn't know what he had done. And Kaigaku became obsessed with being Jiguro's successor and the next Thunder Hashira. But when Iguro told him that both he and Zenitsu would inherit thunder breathing, Kaigaku lost it. Yeah, he hated Zenitsu's cowardice, mocked him non-stop, and couldn't stand the idea of sharing the title with someone he thought was weak. Still, Kaigaku kept training and eventually became a demon slayer. But that's when he ran into Kokushibo. Yeah, that's some seriously bad luck. The second he saw how insanely strong Kokushibo was, Kaigaku instantly begged for his life. And Kokushibo, he actually offered him demon blood, and Kaigaku didn't hesitate. He drank it and became a demon. After that, he went all in by devouring humans left and right, getting stronger and stronger, until he eventually climbed up the ranks and took the title of the new Upper Rank 6. Moving on from the Upper Moon 6, we reach Upper Moon 5, Gyoko. Gyoko, or Minaji as he was known before becoming a demon, grew up in a small fishing village by the coast. But his life quickly took a very dark turn when his parents went out to sea and didn't come back. Eventually, though, their drowned, mangled bodies washed ashore, and the sight left a huge scar on him, and he developed this disturbing fascination with corpses. Yeah, creepy, right? The villagers would then often catch him playing with dead fish, and that's when everyone avoided him, thinking he'd gone completely insane. But one day, a kid started making fun of him for being a freak, and Minaji snapped, ended the kid, and stuffed his body into a fishing pot. When the villagers found out, they stabbed Minagi with a fishing spear and left him for dead. But he somehow clung to life for 12 hours, until Muzan eventually found him and turned him into a demon. As a demon, he took the name Gyoko and became even more crazy. Like, just look at this. So with his cruelty and strength, Gyoko rose through the ranks and eventually became Upper Moon 5. Now, let's talk about Upper Rank 4, Hantengyu. As a kid, Hantengu was a total liar and coward. Anytime something went wrong, he'd instantly point fingers at someone else and play the victim. And when he grew up, he went on to commit a ton of horrible crimes, like stealing and murdering innocent people in different towns, all while swearing that he was innocent. Yeah, he was just crazy. Don't ask me how, but he also had multiple wives and kids over the years. But he convinced himself they were mistreating him and killed them in retaliation. Eventually, though, he got caught and sentenced to death by decapitation. But while waiting for execution, Muzan showed up, pretended to believe in Hantengu's innocence, and gave him demon blood, turning him into a demon. Hantengu then escaped the prison and immediately killed the magistrate who had sentenced him. From there, over the next 200 years, Hantengu developed a crazy blood demon art, and his extreme emotions turned into separate younger clones of himself, each with unique powers and personalities. And this ability made him so strong that he climbed the ranks and became Upper Rank 4. Next up, we've got Nakime, the current Upper Rank 4. Back in the day, she was just a struggling biwa player, barely making a living, stuck with a useless husband who wasted all their money on gambling. And one night, he even pawned off her only performance kimono, and that's when Nakime snapped and killed him with a hammer. Shaken but still needing to perform, she showed up in rags, terrified and trembling from what she'd just done. But strangely, the raw emotion in her music made her performance more beautiful than ever. And the crowd went wild, and she got a lot of money. From that point on, she developed a twisted habit of murdering before every performance. But one day, she picked the wrong target, Muzan. Yeah, she tried to kill him, but obviously failed. Instead of punishing her, though, Muzan was impressed by her abilities and offered her a place as a demon. And Nakime accepted, quickly rising through the ranks until she became the newest Upper Rank 4, one of Muzan's closest allies, and the one who controls the Infinity Castle. Going from Upper Rank 4 to Upper Rank 3, we've got everyone's favorite, Akaza. Akaza, originally named Hakuji, grew up dirt poor in Edo, living in the slums with his sick father, who he loved more than anything. To pay for his father's medicine, he resorted to pickpocketing. But after getting caught 3 times, he was branded with tattoos, beaten, and was even called a demon child. Still, he didn't care about the insults, he just wanted to save his dad. But tragically, his father couldn't bear the idea of living off stolen money and ended up taking his own life, leaving Hakuji devastated. Now, with his criminal tattoos and no family or home to return to, he was eventually banished from Edo, and from then on, Hakuji spiraled, picking fights, and nearly killed 7 men with his bare hands. That's when Keizo, the master of the Soryu Dojo, found him. Hakuji, of course, wanted to fight him, but Keizo easily defeated him. And instead of punishing him, Keizo took him under his wing to teach him martial arts and to make him take care of his sick daughter, Koyuki. And over time, he actually found happiness again. Yeah, he developed a deep bond with Koyuki, and they eventually fell in love with each other. For the first time, Hakuji found happiness and a reason to live. So he trained harder than ever, and eventually, Keizo offered him both the dojo and Koyuki's hand in marriage, and Hakuji swore he'd protect them with his life. But yeah, a rival dojo was jealous of Keizo's success, so they poisoned the well where Keizo and Koyuki drank, which killed them while Hakuji was away. And coming back and seeing their lifeless bodies completely shattered him. So in a fit of pure rage, Hakuji slaughtered all 67 members of the rival dojo with nothing but his fists. This incident caught the attention of Muzan, who saw his monstrous strength and turned him into a demon. From then on, Hakuji became Akaza, and although he lost all memory of his human life, he kept his obsession with getting stronger, and he refused to hurt women, something Muzan allowed as he was loyal, powerful, and one of Muzan's favorite demons, dispatched only for special missions. Talking about everyone's favorite, we now gotta talk about everyone's most hated character at Upper Rank 2, Doma. Over 100 years ago, Doma was born with rainbow-colored eyes and pale hair, which instantly made people think he was someone chosen by the gods. Yeah, his clueless parents ended up putting him at the head of a cult they created called Paradise Faith, as they truly believed he could talk to the gods. Spoiler, he couldn't. But Doma played along, sitting in his fancy little throne room while people cried about their problems, begging him to guide them to paradise. But here's the thing, Doma didn't care at all. He didn't believe in gods or paradise. He thought it was all human nonsense. On top of that, he was born completely emotionless. Like when he was still a kid, his mom lost it, killed his dad for cheating, and then poisoned herself. Any normal kid would have been traumatized. But Doma, he just got annoyed at the smell and worried the red would stain the furniture. Yeah, he's completely insane. Then, by 20, he met Muzan, who turned him into a demon. and that's when he gave his cult a new purpose. Basically, he decided the best way to lead people to paradise was to eat them. Yup, he ran his cult while devouring followers for decades, climbing the ranks until he became upper rank 2. But now we finally reach the strongest and scariest demon at Upper Moon 1, Kokushibo. Kokushibo, whose real name was Michikatsu Tsugikuni, was born in the Sengoku period along with his twin brother, Yoriichi. Yup, that Yoriichi. But back then, twins were considered a bad omen, and when their dad saw Yoriichi's strange birthmark, he straight up said he'd kill him. But their mom stopped that from happening. However, a deal was made that Yoriichi was kept separate from the rest of the house and was going to be sent away to a temple when he turned 10. So while Michikatsu grew up like a normal kid, Yoriichi was basically locked away and treated like an outcast. Still, Michikatsu loved his brother and snuck around to see him as he pitied him, as everyone also thought Yoriichi was deaf and weak. Well, until he was 7 and suddenly spoke for the first time, saying he wanted to be a samurai like Michikatsu who was out practicing sword swings. Then one day, Yoriichi picked up a sword and absolutely destroyed one of their father's men with just a basic stance. Michikatsu was shocked and begged his brother to teach him, as he'd never landed a blow himself. And when Yoriichi explained how he won the fight, Michikatsu realized Yoriichi wasn't just talented, he was a genius. Yeah, he could literally see through people's bodies, watching their muscles and blood flow, which later became the foundation of sun breathing. Meanwhile, Michikatsu continued to train, but no matter how hard he trained, he could never catch up to his brother, and that jealousy kept eating at him. Then, one night, when their mother succumbed to an illness, he realized Yoriichi had known everything about their mother's illness from when she would die, and had planned accordingly. And that's when Michikatsu started to absolutely hate Yoriichi. But that's when Yoriichi left the house and never returned. 10 years later, after becoming a samurai and starting a family, Michikatsu's camp was attacked by a demon. Michikatsu fought back but was barely alive, and that's when Yoriichi came out of nowhere and saved him, which only made his jealousy worse. Yeah, he literally abandoned his family, joined the Demon Slayers, created moon breathing, a spin-off to sun breathing, and even awakened his Demon Slayer mark. But he was still not as powerful as his brother, and that frustration eventually pushed him into the arms of Muzan. Yeah, fearing death from the mark and desperate to surpass Yoriichi, Michikatsu gave in and became a demon, transforming into the Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo, the strongest demon under Muzan. Which of the Upper Moons had the worst backstory in Demon Slayer? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and watch this video next.